it's just right button. Okay. So if you didn't hear the peanut gallery where Dr. Lexis said, Dr. Ern's going to hit you with his wisdom, someone in the crowd said, this will be quick. So I don't know why I keep doing this.
Yes, that was yours.
And I didn't even tell him that you were reading for it. Instigate something.
Let's see, so
Arrow.
arrow.
No, on the bottom. Yes.
Did I break it already? Okay. These are the difference between your retirement on a cruise ship or, okay. I've actually heard that people that retirement-wise go around the world, just go on a cruise trip, cheaper than being in a nursing home. I'll finish Dr. Lexi's presentation. Our bodies are meant to adapt and thrive. We just need to take care of them. Good point. Better question is, why would you not detox? Important example, people start out hard, start of the year, they gung-ho, but they don't finish through. All right, on to my part. So why does a person need to detox? So hopefully everything that Dr. Lexi went into will show you some of the reasons why we need to detox. I don't even know if I should use the D word. One of my favorite YouTubers who has more than 2 million subscribers, he can't even use the D word or he'll be demonetized. So if you don't think censorship is a real thing, I'll use a couple of Hippocrates quotes. So father of Western medicine, before you heal someone, ask him if he's willing to give up the things that made him sick. Especially important nowadays. So today we're talking primarily about the liver. Okay, it's about 3 pounds. If you feel the end of your rib cage right here, some people can actually feel part of their liver right underneath. Couple facts about the liver. It's the largest solid organ in the body, second largest organ after the skin. It performs 500 different functions. So the liver, it was almost, when we were in grad school and we had to go through 4 national boards to be able to practice, one of the big things they said, if you don't know what organ does it, guess the liver. It's that important. One of the neat things about the liver, I think of it almost like a starfish. So if you take a starfish and you cut off one of the legs and it has part of the central ring in it, it can grow a whole new starfish. The liver can completely regenerate. So liver is one of those interesting organs where you cut it in half and it'll regrow back. Okay, a couple of other things as far as the liver. Destroys old damaged blood cells, storage of fats, proteins, glycogens, vitamins. This is also where a lot of people in our country get what's called cholecystectomies, and that's where they take out this organ, the gallbladder. And your liver is what produces bile. Bile is like Dawn dish soap to help you break down fats, and then eventually the pancreas has to finish the job. Bile actually stores within the gallbladder. So when we go in and take gallbladders out, we don't digest fats adequately. In fact, we'll probably do a talk here later this year on digestion, including things for people that have a sluggish gallbladder or that are completely missing it. Because a lot of times in our country, we take them out, but then we don't instruct patients on what they should do afterwards. Hopefully, just to reiterate some of the things Dr. Lexi went over, I'm glad she went into more of the specifics on all these different things we're exposed to. Here in the U.S., there are 80,000 chemicals registered. Another reason to detox, 100 million Americans have what's called non-alcoholic fatty liver disease. So if almost a third of people in this country have what's called a non-alcoholic fatty liver, it tells you that we're not doing a good job detoxing. How serious is fatty liver disease? Over the next 20 years, approximately 1.5 million people will develop cirrhosis, and that's way past non-alcoholic fatty liver disease. That's where you're actually starting to get scarring on it. Of those with a fatty liver, less than 10%, some medical experts think less than 5%, have been identified. In the U.S., there are over 8,000 transplants a year. The waiting list for a liver transplant is long. 25% on the list die each year waiting for a new liver. So for some of those that don't take care of it, even though I said it can regenerate, some people don't last to get a new one. So today I'm going to go over a couple of different phases here, phase 1, phase 2, and phase 3 liver detox. It'll be a little bit more in-depth as far as why we need to detox certain parts of the liver. The easiest way to put it, think of your liver almost like 2 oil filters. Oil filter 1, oil filter 2. We need both of them working adequately. Why we talked about even this time here, as far as liver detox, one of the main fat-burning organs in the body is the liver. So I always tell people, and most of that fat is burned at night. So if a person has sleep issues, sleep apnea, and a fatty liver, good luck losing weight. It becomes a lot tougher. If you guys memorize this chart, you'll be good to go after tonight. So then we'll quiz you next time. This goes a little bit more in depth as far as phase 1, phase 2. I just want to point to 2 different areas. So phase 1, oil filter 1, that's your cytochrome P450 enzymes. Phase 2 is what's called conjugation pathways. So do you guys remember doing the conga line? Dun, 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 dun. So, or the conga line. That's how I think of this. Basically, this whole flow chart here, when I break down a toxin, I use one of the most common ones, alcohol. Alcohol has to be broken down, and usually what it gets broken down into is something that's more dangerous than the original toxin. It's called acetaldehyde. And so that acetaldehyde, your body doesn't like aldehydes, like formaldehyde. It's got to finish the process. If it doesn't, I can actually get sicker. And that's where phase 1 and phase 2 come in. We'll go into a little bit more, but phase 1 requires a lot of things such as B vitamins and antioxidants. Phase 2 requires B vitamins and amino acids. And why I bring that up is because some people, if you were to just look at phase 1 here, if I take a bunch of phase 1 liver detox enzymes and I don't have enough left over of phase 2, I can actually get pretty sick. Okay? It's more of an order of operation. So number 1, I'm going to start with proper nervous system function. So if I want to make sure that the liver is functioning adequately, I want to make sure that the nerves going to the organ are functioning. From a chiropractic standpoint, this is why one of the things, if a person says, hey, I want to detox, I heard it's good, but they tell me, boy, I'm not going to the bathroom once a day. Well, if I'm detoxing all those things and my body's not removing them, that's not a good thing. So normally when I talk to patients, okay, are we ready to do a detox? I want to make sure that they're going to the bathroom at least 1 to 3 times a day. I want to make sure they're absorbing their nutrients. I want to make sure they have proper nervous system function. Some of my favorite patients in here that come in with back pain but also have constipation, we start working on their lower back, the nerves that go to the colon, and they start having normal bowel movements. And that's kind of where proper nervous system function comes in. Phase 2, then phase 1, or both at the same time. So we'll go into that a little bit more in depth. Yep, there's our friend Hippocrates. Look well to the spine for the cause of disease. So chiropractors love that saying. And this is what I had talked about. So these right here are called your lumbar splanchnic nerves. If you see this tube it goes to the colon. If you look just above that, your greater and lesser splanchnic nerves, they go to the stomach. Another one of our cases are probably on a daily basis. We'll get someone say, boy, I came into the chiropractor for mid-back pain and now my acid reflux went away. Sometimes it's actually a neurological issue. It's not an underlying stomach issue. But I told you I was going to use a few quotes by him. He liked to hedge his bet, back in the day, and he was a Greek physician, 350 BC. He also said all disease starts in the gut. So he was on a nervous phase, and then he went gut phase. He probably said other stuff like look to the elbow, but we don't remember that one. I also joke around back then. We knew there was 4 elements: fire, water, earth, and air. Lay's potato chips. I don't know if you... All right, that's my one humorous slide. Back to serious stuff. Okay, as far as the small intestine, we have 3 different parts of it. So we'll go more into the small intestine here. It's got cool names. I used to call it the duodenum, jejunum, and ileum as far as your small intestine. So we want to make sure order of operations before detoxing. We have adequate stomach acid. If you're taking an acid reflux medication, you don't have adequate stomach acid. Okay? You're not bloated or tired after a meal. So number 1, I typically want to make sure, even if a person is on like an omeprazole, Prilosec, something that's blocking stomach acid, I'm going to give them a digestive aid. Because if you go back to phase 1, phase 2, remember phase 2 requires amino acids, my proteins. And if I'm not breaking down my proteins, phase 2 isn't going to work adequately. So that's number one. Number two, I want to make sure I'm eliminating. I'm having 1 to 3 bowel movements a day. For some of those people, they might be on Miralax. We might recommend naturally aloe or magnesium or getting adjusted in the lower back. And then we're going to go on to phase 1, phase 2 liver detox. And essentially what that means is I want to take a toxin, I'd mentioned alcohol earlier, and I want to make it water soluble so the body can get rid of it. Okay, we go back to, and this is a more simplified form. You'll notice a couple of different things. They use some fancy words like oxidation reduction. Basically, we're breaking down a toxin and then we're conjugating it, like the conjuline, to make it so we can eliminate it in our urine, bile, and stool. And if you notice a lot of these nutrients that are needed, okay, for the first phase 1, we need adequate B vitamins. You'll also see things like glutathione. Over here, if you look at some of these methionine, cysteine, glutathione, taurine, glycine, you'll find a lot of amino acids. So for a lot of people, we want to make sure they're getting plenty of amino acids in the diet and plenty of B vitamins to help their liver detox. Okay, if we go into liver detox here, here's where we had mentioned all those different toxins, phase 1, phase 2. So to help both sides out, and in here normally we don't give a super strong liver detox that just focuses on one thing. We're usually going to combine both of these together. That's why we usually do food-based detoxes. And more than anything, it's just helping the body enhance digestion. So even when I use that word detox in that, it's almost a cliched type term. All the nutrients we recommend in the office are food-based to help both of these. Okay. So just to reiterate, phase 1 requires more B vitamins and antioxidant. Phase 2 requires more amino acids. Then after that, to help bind it to something, we want to use different types of fiber like apple pectin, activated charcoal, something to bind to the toxins to help it rid it from the body. So I like to, and Dr. Boach may go into a little bit, I always like to do a shameless plug here, but this is what I actually did. I do one of these 3 times a year. I did mine starting before the New Year's. This has phase 1, phase 2. Basically, it's a bunch of different foods and herbs to benefit both of those 2 different filters within, and then it has fiber to bind to. The nice thing when I take something like this, it's a whole food. So I don't have to worry. Sometimes even when people go out and do heavy dosages of things like milk thistle is your #1 liver detox supplement. Well, what happens if they do heavy liver detox with milk thistle, which definitely helps out phase 1, but they don't have enough of the phase 2 or different things like fiber in that? That's where sometimes a person might actually get more sick. So usually when we do different things in here, it's going to be food-based. One of my favorite motivational speakers, kind of like a Tony Robbins, who's since passed on, take care of your body. It's the only place you have to live. So with that, I will bring up, as far as enhancing detox pathways through exercise, I'm going to bring up Dr. Matt. And I believe I didn't want to be like Dr. Lexi. Yep, I'm done.